Sun Tzu's The Art of War was composed during one of the most turbulent periods in early Chinese history, the late spring and autumn into the Warring States era around the 5th century BCE. At this time, China was fragmented and rival states constantly waged war, each seeking dominance and survival. Sun Tzu, also known as Sun Wu, was a Chinese general, military strategist, and philosopher. He is traditionally believed to have served the state of Wu, where his strategic genius and discipline-based leadership earned him fame. One popular story tells of how he trained palace concubines into a well-drilled military unit, using strict discipline to prove that clear commands and consequences are the foundation of effective leadership. The Art of War is his legacy, a concise yet profound treatise consisting of 13 chapters, each dedicated to a different aspect of warfare. But this work is far more than a manual for battle. Sun Tzu crafted a philosophy of conflict where strategy, timing, and psychological insight are key to victory. He believed that the best victories are won without fighting at all. True mastery lies in outwitting the enemy, in avoiding unnecessary destruction, and in preserving harmony. Warfare for Sun Tzu was not about brute strength. It was about wisdom, adaptation, and the pursuit of lasting order. We begin our journey into the art of war by understanding the man behind it, the violent world that shaped his thinking, and how he transformed the chaos of his time into timeless principles of strategy and leadership. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu begins by identifying 5 constant factors that determine the outcome of any conflict. These are moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. The moral law refers to the harmony between ruler and people. It's the sense of shared purpose and legitimacy that compels soldiers and citizens alike to follow their leader, even through danger and hardship. Heaven represents natural elements, climate, time, seasons, weather. A wise commander accounts for these conditions, understanding that timing can turn the tide of battle. Earth stands for geography, distances, terrain, obstacles. Knowing the landscape allows a leader to anticipate movements, exploit high ground, and avoid traps. The commander is the embodiment of leadership. Sun Tzu emphasizes 5 virtues here: wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. A great commander must inspire confidence while maintaining control and discipline. Method and discipline, sometimes called doctrine, refers to the structure of the army, its organization, logistics, chain of command, and the consistent execution of orders. No strategy can succeed without internal order. But beyond these 5 constants lies a more fluid and powerful concept. Often translated as strategic advantage or momentum, Shi is the alignment of circumstances that creates favorable conditions before a battle even begins. Shi is not brute force. It's the skillful manipulation of potential. Like channeling water down a slope, it means setting the stage so the opponent's defeat becomes inevitable. A master of Shi shapes the battlefield to their advantage long before the first move is made. Instead of reacting, the strategist anticipates. Instead of clashing head-on, they redirect, deceive, and destabilize, turning the enemy's strength into weakness. In essence, while the 5 constant factors build the foundation of sound strategy, it is Shi that transforms that foundation into a winning force. Master both, and you control not just the battle, but the very terms upon which it's fought. All warfare is based on deception. With this simple but powerful statement, Sun Tzu sets the tone for much of the art of war. Victory, he argues, is not simply about strength, it's about perception, misdirection, and striking at precisely the right moment. To deceive is to control what the enemy sees and believes. Appear weak when you are strong. Appear distant when you are near. Lure your opponent into complacency or recklessness. When deception is mastered, a smaller or less equipped force can defeat a larger one without ever engaging in open battle. This approach demands something essential: intelligence. Sun Tzu places enormous emphasis on information. He writes that knowing yourself and knowing your enemy ensures victory in 100 battles. Spies, scouts, and informants become strategic assets. Without them, every decision is guesswork. Gathering accurate intelligence about the enemy's numbers, movements, morale, and intentions gives a commander the insight to outmaneuver and destabilize. An army that acts based on knowledge rather than assumption will always have the upper hand. But even more important than deception and intelligence is preparation. For Sun Tzu, the best victory is the one achieved before conflict erupts. A true strategist prevents war through pressure, positioning, diplomacy, and deterrence. The art of war is not in the fighting, but in making fighting unnecessary. Build alliances, undermine enemy morale, cut off supplies, isolate your opponent. Win by maneuvering so skillfully that resistance collapses before the first blow is struck. In this way, the art of war becomes not just a guide to battle, but a philosophy of restraint. Its lessons extend beyond the battlefield, into politics, business, and daily life. Deception, intelligence, and preparation are tools of the wise, not the reckless, and the greatest victory is the one achieved without bloodshed. To Sun Tzu, the highest skill in war is not brute force, it is strategic maneuver. Direct confrontation is often the costliest path. Instead, victory lies in avoiding the enemy's strength and exploiting their weakness. Rather than charging head-on into fortified positions or prepared defenses, Sun Tzu advises commanders to take the indirect approach. Redirect the enemy's attention, disrupt their plans, force them to stretch their resources or defend vulnerable ground. In this way, you shape the battlefield to your advantage before a single arrow is loosed. Maneuver is about creating dilemmas, situations where any move the enemy makes only worsens their position. You corner them psychologically and strategically, weakening their resolve and reducing their options. This is not just battlefield movement, it is an art of positioning the mind. Closely tied to this is Sun Tzu's emphasis on economy of force. He warns against long, draining campaigns. Every battle drains morale, depletes supplies, and risks unforeseen loss. Therefore, a wise commander acts with restraint, deploying just enough force at just the right time to break the enemy's will. A single, swift, decisive strike, delivered after thorough preparation and misdirection, is worth more than weeks of attrition. Conserve your strength for the critical moment, and let the enemy exhaust themselves reacting to feints and threats. In this way, war becomes not about overwhelming force, but about superior judgment. Move swiftly, strike precisely, waste nothing. Win not by domination, but by disorientation and disruption. Sun Tzu's art of maneuver and measured force reveals a deep truth. Success belongs not to the strongest, but to the most adaptable. In Sun Tzu's philosophy, the character of the commander is as vital as the strategy itself. Victory begins at the top, with leadership that inspires loyalty, discipline, and clarity of purpose. A great commander, Sun Tzu writes, must possess 5 essential virtues. Wisdom, to make sound decisions. Sincerity, to earn the trust of the troops. Benevolence, to care for their well-being. Courage, to act decisively in danger. And strictness, to enforce discipline without hesitation. These traits are not just moral ideals, they're practical foundations for unity and morale in the face of adversity. Without discipline, even the strongest army crumbles. Without morale, even the best plan fails. Sun Tzu emphasizes the need for clear command structures, consistent enforcement of rules, and maintaining the fighting spirit through order and motivation. An army that is confused or disheartened is already defeated before the first clash of weapons, but discipline alone is not enough. Adaptability is the mark of a truly skilled general. The battlefield is never static. Conditions shift, enemies evolve, opportunities arise and disappear. A rigid plan, no matter how clever, becomes a liability when clung to blindly. Instead, Sun Tzu urges leaders to remain fluid, to read the terrain, sense the enemy's intent, and respond in real time. The best strategies emerge not from scripts, but from sensitivity to the moment. Just as water shapes itself to the vessel it enters, a wise commander shapes their actions to fit changing circumstances. In the end, Sun Tzu's lesson is simple. The strongest force in war is not the sword or the spear, but the disciplined will of a well-led, adaptive force, one that moves with purpose, adjusts with grace, and strikes only when the moment is right.